Aloha. So this is an add-on to the last video of the dimensions. I just want to keep rolling with it. I left off at the. So I started with the first year zero of our birth, and then going into 1, 2, and 3, and understanding this reality and ourselves, coming from nothing, zero, not even understanding what our own reality, forgetting everything. 1, 2, and 3, being connected to our dreams, still actively more in our dreams than even our waking state. I remember when I was a kid, we used to talk about our dreams more than, with my friends, used to talk about my dreams and our dreams more than anything else, really. Flying, we always wanted to fly. This thing, we always wanted to fly. And when we started talking with with each other, then that's when we started to remember our dreams even more, and could work in the flying space and at least open that door of connection. Oh, man. Excuse me. So yeah, so 1, 2, and 3, we still have connection with our dreams. 4, 5, 6, and 7, that's when we start to get integrated into the physical reality, become subject to losing the connection with our dreams, because we start to get more anchored in the physical reality with school and our parents telling us what it is, and our friends doing the same thing, and start thinking about, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Or you want to be a astronaut or a firefighter or a policeman, or you want to do all this other stuff? That whole time frame, that's a program that's being put into these kids' heads that we carry for the rest of our lives. And that becomes our new dream state. That becomes our new dream realm. The dreams that get implanted based upon the the reality that we believe is it. So 1, 2, and 3, excuse me. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, up until 11. 11 is we start opening up to love and the experience of love with another individual. And at 11 and 12, for me, it was like around 12 is when I started to open that space and experience what that was. And I'm realizing the agreements that I've had from birth till now of wanting to keep away from people, to keep away from love, because I haven't loved myself enough to understand how to love somebody else. So my agreements with myself and with other people have been based upon wound mates, and instead of that are connected to soulmates, that are definitely no different than a soulmate. It's just a label for an experience. So wound mates until those wounds get healed, and then we can work with soulmates and loving through the experience. Now, during this time, you can also work with your wound mates or soulmates that might feel like a wound mate. It's a weird, so there's no like definite line or whatever, but the whole thing is, every time we're with somebody else, we're healing, we're learning, we're understanding what it is that this whole experience is on the inside and the out. So at 11, 12, and 13, you're starting to create the foundations of your adult life and what your next dream reel, like your next dream section in time for the rest of your next 11 years or however many years into your next jump, or your next yeah, that's it, your next jump in consciousness. So we line up a lot of wound mates so we can understand ourselves. And this is all part of everybody's experience, and in between all this stuff, we have the real life, the real world, and all that other stuff, which becomes our main focus because we have been convinced that that is what it is, but it's not. That's the distraction. The real space that we are exists in our dreams, and in who we are, our essence, our hearts. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with anything that's on TV. Nothing. All that stuff is an illusion. The only thing that isn't an illusion is, whoa, everything's an illusion. No. Your heartbeat is real. And start there and work your way back. So the illusions get layered over each master number. We have thicknesses, layers and thicknesses of illusions that are placed in our realities in order to confuse us and separate us from ourselves and each other. So yeah, 11, 12, 13, we go through these time frames. It's real hard to interpret anything outside of the emotional body or the ego body without without being sucked back into that space, because you're surrounded by it so much. And you got video games, you got school, you got parents that are coming down hard on you because that's like the angsty sort of rebellious time frame. So you're either exploding or imploding on yourself because the world is so against you and you're trying to be who you are in that whole world. And then you got 4 more years of pretty much prison, which is a school, and then programming, and then you got to look forward to going into another 4 more years of that shit, just on a different layer, and then even more, 2 more years after that to become good at a master in that world. It's bullshit. It's putting your life out here and forgetting about what's right here, right now. So it's kind of like buying humanity. So in between all of this stuff is love, and we say we experience it as in between, but it's actually the essence of this interaction with ourselves and with each other. So the distraction is work, become a man, become a woman, learn what it is you want to do in life, get married, have kids, be successful, be a good parent. Like, it's all these things that are based upon the physical reality that have nothing to do with your spiritual connections to yourself, or even somebody that you love. That religion and all that other stuff's got that on lockdown. The confusion, the separation, the fear, the distraction in that world, all of that. It's just a big ball of confusion that gets put out there, and we're in it, and then we make our ways out. So we get through that, and after high school, so yeah, I wasn't gonna meet my soulmate when I was 12 and 13. I'm not who I am unless it's like a slim to none chance that that's ever gonna happen, because you're really trying to learn yourself and understand yourself. Unless you had that agreement at that time frame, or yeah, unless you had that agreement and then you work with each other all the way through your lives, um, healing and learning and understanding. In this jacked up society, those agreements are slim to none because it's so chaotic. It's so like all over the place. Anyway, back to the point of time frames. So these are our soul family. We never separate from our soul family. Every group, every individual that we meet that has a connection with us on that level, say for example like a love connection, that's part of our soul family, and we have these agreements with them to either to exchange energy. And a lot of the times the words, the labels that get thrown out are like soulmates, twin flames, wound mates. And for the twin flame stuff, I wanted to speak on for a second. So that goes on into, I was thinking about this a few weeks ago, which was the reality of so the twin flame is out. So that's a flame. So I was breaking it down. So like flame, but we're not just fire. We're elements. We're built up of fire, water, earth, air, ether. Like all this is part of who we are, and we have different archetypes that we have chosen to experience and express when we come into this physical reality. So a lot of people are water signs, some people are air signs, some people are fire signs, and then you have your fire. So those fire connections. This is why the twin flame is so in the consciousness, is because when two flames join, it's really intense. It's a really when the two fire or the two balances, whatever it is, fire is involved. And it's not necessarily like these are just things I'm throwing out. It just is not like what it is what it is, because there's a fire that we all have. Even if you're a water element or a air element, there's a fire. There's a fire that you are, and there's a fire that your love is, and there's a possibility that you can meet that fire and carry that fire on. But that's just like another like distraction in itself at the same time, because you might have had an agreement to come here and be with your water element or your air element or your earth element, or maybe in this time frame you it's better to work with your air or earth or fire because of what you're doing or whatever it is. It's never a one thing that's out there. So when we have these labels, we got to be careful with our labels and what we're talking about. In regards to who we are and who our soulmate is and all that other stuff. But going back to before, I just wanted to throw that out there just to because I remembered it. But back to like 22, 23, master numbers 22, 23, 24. So 22 is another like chapter in our master experience. And at 22, we are out on our own. We're doing, you're an adult now, and you are fully engaged in your master creation. But at that time, you had already been indoctrinated into a program of conditioning that is just so thick that we can't even, see ourselves in the mirror. We can't even experience ourselves with ourselves, let alone with somebody else. So you have 22, 23, 24. If you're lucky, not lucky. Depending on your experience. If you're aware enough to understand your connection to your spirit and yourself, then you can work from there as that master number. up until your next master number. So you can see the trend here, and then you get to 33, and then that's another time, that's another master space that you can work in. And so yeah, 22 is a 4, 23, 20, 24, so 4, 5, and 6 dimensions. There's something there with dimensions and soul groups and agreements and all that stuff. And then 33, 6, 7, and 8 in the dimensions there. I don't know. It was just something that I was touching on earlier, but yeah, I'll leave it there. Time's running out. But I pretty much hit on all the points and the questions. If anybody else has anything to add on, please comment, or whatever it is, share. But until next time, thank you for joining me. Peace, love, and harmony.